Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See detail.
Here we find ourselves in the middle of Sunflower Showdown week, and we're talking basketball. But it is that time, as Women's Media Day is being held in Kansas City today. The men will get their turn tomorrow in Kansas City as we get ready for the new basketball season. Hi, I'm Troy Coverdale. Mitch Fortner is on location in Kansas City. We've got a bunch of interviews for you coming up as the game rolls today. And we start with Mitch sitting down with K-State women's basketball coach Jeff Mittie earlier this afternoon.
All right, Coach Mittie, appreciate your time. And Yoki was just telling me about how fast this summer went, and you really allowed her to go do a lot of things with her spare time with camps and just a lot of activities over the summer.
You know, it's a different era in college athletics in a lot of ways, and in the sense that you have some of those opportunities that, your players, especially the older players, and because we're still in that kind of, we got one more year of the COVID situation, you have players that whether it be internships, whether it be opportunities, maybe it's NIL opportunities. So it is a little different summer, but it flew by, and here we are.
I'm asking this question because it's just been such a long time that K-State women's basketball has been preseason ranked top 15. It's been 20 years since that happened. But, I mean, does it feel like a badge of honor? Is it just, all right, this is just where we're starting, we're good, we're just playing to go up from here?
Yeah, I mean, you want to start in there, so you want to be the type of program that they're talking about every year. It's harder than people think, obviously, and starting in the top 15, I think, it's obviously an indication of the kind of year we had last year. It's also an indication of how many players we have back. All of those things are factors, and certainly we're excited about it. And it's a better starting point than we had a year ago. Now, fortunately for us, a year ago, we won the right games early. We got the big one over Caitlin Clark early, so that jumped us in really, really quick. Sometimes you don't have that opportunity, and you can spend the majority of your non-con looking, being a good team, but maybe not being in that ranking. And in women's, where it really matters is, at the end of the year when you got a chance to host, and you want to be in that top 16 to host.
I was looking at your the Warren Nolan strength of schedule. At the end of last year, you guys were inside the top 50. You open up the year with the 26th toughest schedule in America. And I guess the fun thing about with the top 25 coming out, you see where some of these non-conference opponents are coming ranked. And you have a heck of an opportunity in Vegas to play two. Yep. You have Creighton coming in. I guess, was there a strategy with the non-con this year to bump it up in competition a little bit and be more of a challenge?
Well, I'll say this. Katie Falco did an awesome job with our scheduling. It is more challenging every year. And if you look at our schedule, fans may go, well, there's not maybe the household names, but I'll give you an example. Wisconsin Green Bay, they won 26 games last year, beat two Power Fives by 20. You've got Belmont next game. Outstanding. I think they won 25. Middle Tennessee won 31. And then you talk about Duke, you talk about Oklahoma. Last year we played Wisconsin, which I will tell you straight out that it looks better on paper than they were a year ago in terms of their net. Missouri looks better on paper last year than their net looks. Wisconsin, Green Bay, Belmont, these are going to be teams that have every opportunity to win the league. So we wanted to have a tough schedule. I think it'll be a big challenge because the one thing about those really, really good mid-majors is they have the type of style of play that can give you problems, especially because they'll pull Yoki away, they'll pull Kennedy Taylor away from the basket, Amani Lester away from the basket, and that's different than what they see in the league. So it'll be a big challenge.
Well, I was talking about that Vegas tournament. You're going to lead off with Duke. They're a very good team, and then Oklahoma could be on the other side if you beat Duke. How did that tournament come about? Are they wanting you guys to come there and play in your tournament?
I mean, all those tournaments are reaching out to some of the top teams in the country, and certainly they want to start there. They want it obviously depends on the tournament, but in this particular case, OU and us were the initial early ones in there, and so Duke gets in there, and I mean, obviously with 3 top 15 teams, I think Duke's come out 11th or 12th, OU's come out 13th or 14th. We're in that mix. DePaul, Doug Bruno, one of the legendary coaches in the game. So this is a really, really good tournament, and this particular group that's running the tournament we've been in their tournaments before. We were in their tournament a year ago in Florida. They really want the top teams in the country playing in their tournaments, so this was a good opportunity for us.
Last time we talked, you brought up that you're currently in the process of figuring out some rules, or what potentially a plan could be for particular individuals. So I'm very curious about if there is an update on any of that, and if you have a plan for anybody yet, or you feel like somebody's going to be stepping up in a big role here very soon.
Well, I think we got some answers that we haven't liked. We got some answers that we did like, and that's when you're trying to look at different things, you tend to get both of those. And I think one of the things, I'll give you an example, Eliza Maupin, we want her to be able to guard on the perimeter more, and there's growing pains with that because she's a player that has really guarded forwards and centers. And obviously defending the perimeter, you've got to manage the ball screen differently. You've got to manage flare screens differently. You've got to manage dribble drive action. You've got to see those things coming. So there's been some good moments for her, and there have been some rough moments for her. I do still think there's an opportunity for her to be very disruptive out there. She's so athletic. She has such great recoverability. She's so long. She can really make a difference up there. You look at a player like Imani Lester, looking at her at the power forward spot because she can extend out. She passes the ball well, but she's got to defend that pick and pop for. We saw some growing pains in our scrimmage, and we've got to see her grow in that area. Taryn Sides has been out, so that has not enabled me to move Serena around as much as you and I talked about potentially. So Taryn is just now getting back in. We hope that she's back in practice on Thursday, but she's been out 2-3 weeks here. And so that has eliminated some of the stuff we talked about and moving Serena to different spots. And it's made Zy Walker not get as many. Zy hasn't been able to get as many reps at the 2 because she's had to play the point some. And so just like every preseason, there's different things that occur that you can have some well-laid plans, and you got to adjust as you go.
I saw a picture of Taryn, and she was in a boot. I was going to ask about her, but you don't think she's going to be out?
Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
No. She actually went through no contact this morning. She'll be able to go no contact tomorrow, and then we will hopefully start contact on Thursday. So we don't think this is a long-term thing, but we need to get her back. As I've said numerous times, she had she had a great summer. Phenomenal summer. I feel like her growth has really set her up to have a big year. And so we've rested her probably a little longer here because we don't want this to be a nagging injury. But it looks like she's on the right path.
You brought up Eliza, and it reminds me of that Baylor game. She was so big, and she hit a 3, which as far as I know, she's not a three-point shooter, hadn't taken one, but she got to go, and that popped that bench, and that was a lot of fun. Do you ever, take something like that sometime and experiment? She hit a 3. Maybe she's hiding a little something. Maybe she's got some potential, and see where you can go with it. Or
well, we've got plenty of drill work that they get some opportunities to show it, and certainly in today's technology, whether it's our NOAA shooting drills or whether it's our shot tracker, there's some data. Now, I will say this with Eliza, she has continued to be more consistent from there, so I don't know that she's going to shoot a bunch of them this year, but I think she'll shoot her fair share.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. Yoki, could she shoot a couple more this year? I don't know if she wants to mess up that perfect record on 3-pointers.
She may not. Yoki likes that. Yoki likes telling everybody that she's never missed in a game from 3, so she may not. But, Yoki, same thing. I mean, we do a couple drills where they all get to shoot the 3 in those drills. And, Yoki, the one thing about her is her technique is so sound that her misses are either short or long. They're very rarely right or left. So, you may see her take a few more.
I got a couple more for you. In Bramlage, have they set up the Hollywood, the Hollywood seats, as in the seats between the scorer's table and the bench? So I was super curious about what you thought about that.
You know what? It's interesting you're asking me that. I don't know the answer to it. But I am going to talk to Jill Shields about it. I think we should do it. I think any way that we can increase interest, potentially raise a little more money, change our arena, particularly on the women's side, because it's kind of, you have some opportunities in ours because the men have had long-time season ticket holders that maybe there aren't opportunities to do that for some fans. But in ours, there may be some opportunities there for fans. And certainly if you're in those seats, you're going to be on TV every game. So they're highly coveted seats for fans. And you saw it in the WNBA. They've got the Hollywood seats. If you saw the WNBA finals, I mean, those are very popular. So I wouldn't have a problem with it.
All right, one more quick one before I let you go. I'm asking the coaches this question. Do you remember the first piece of music you ever purchased?
First piece of music?
A record, a cassette, a CD, Remember that first album you
Def
purchased?
Leppard, High and Dry.
Really? Def Leppard, huh?
I think that was first.
That's a pretty good first. Have you ever seen Def Leppard in concert?
I have not.
I've seen them twice.
Have you?
Pretty good.
All right.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Not long ago.
All right.
All right, Coach Mittie, we're going to do this a bunch this year, so I appreciate your time and best of luck this year.
All right, Mitch. Thanks, buddy.
Mitch Fortner sitting down earlier with Jeff Mittie, K-State's head coach, as the Cats are the favorite going into the new season, as voted on in the coaches poll earlier this month. More from Kansas City as we continue in a moment on The Game. The game continues on this Tuesday afternoon. Mitch Fortner's in Kansas City handling things as Women's Basketball Media Day for the Big 12 Conference is underway. He got the opportunity earlier to sit down with Cats center and preseason player of the year, Ayoka Lee.
Welcome to your, last Big 12 Media Days. Does it feel like it's pretty crazy that the season starts next week with an exhibition?
It is crazy. It's gone by really fast. Yeah.
What'd you do this summer?
Man, so much. I played some basketball. I worked at a urban sports camp. I interned at a summer camp for Christian athletes. Took two of my teammates to a camp up in Minnesota and played a little basketball.
So where are you finding all the time to do this? You just have to, choose your activities wisely and use your time the best?
Yeah, it was a lot of traveling, this week I'm in town, this week I'm out of town, a lot of grace by Coach Mittie, letting me go and do all these things that I really enjoyed and just things I love giving time to, so yeah.
Well, something that we've never talked about is I'm just wondering about what it's been like working with Aaron Lockett. Mm-hmm. All K-State fans know for the most part, he's a part of the famous Lockett family, and he was a heck of a football player. But now, is he your agent? Is that the correct title for him? Or?
Yeah, he's my NIL. I don't know, agent. I guess I don't know. That's a tricky word, just with transitioning after basketball and you're not supposed to have one before that stuff. But yeah, he handles all my NIL stuff. Along with Elizabeth and Wildcat NIL. But yeah, he's been awesome. He's been just really cool to get to know. And he's based out of Houston, so he's not always in town, but when he is, just getting to talk to him in person and stuff, he's really cool.
That's really cool. It's been a long time since we've seen him around here in Manhattan, other than when Tyler Lockett was playing. So getting ready for this season, I know you guys have been practicing, and I think the last time we talked, you guys were still kind of figuring out some roles and learning about what the identity of this team could be with a couple of new pieces. So I wanted to ask about Tamira Poindexter, because she's the new kid in town. Transfer, was one of the top scorers last year. What have you seen from her so far that you know she's going to be a really solid fit?
Yeah, man, she can do a lot on the floor for us, I think. She's really long, and she's really good at using her length on defense and on offense, finishing around the rim. As a shooter, she's great at just finding shots kind of when you don't expect it. So, yeah, I'm excited about a lot of things. I think she'll be really big for us. And, yeah, I'm really thankful that she picked K-State.
Kenny Taylor comes in. Is she coming in to be a backup for you, or can she play a couple of positions?
Yeah, I think she's a center, so yeah, we'll definitely share minutes a little bit. But yeah, she's also been really good offensive rebounder, a good presence just in the paint that we haven't really had other than me in the past. So yeah, also really excited for her.
You've been a super humble person pretty much your entire career with all the accolades you get, and I feel like you've been asked about every single thing you've been awarded, and you're taking them all in stride. But how special was it to be named the Big 12 preseason Player of the Year, and what was your reaction when Coach told you at practice?
Yeah, man, kind of crazy. I don't know. Obviously, I've been in the league a long time and have seen a lot of people get named that award. So. Yeah, it's such an honor, and I think it just is, a good show of the work that I've put in and everything that I've accomplished thus far.
Does it feel like a badge of honor to be preseason ranked 13th in the nation after? Well, I mean, you guys were number 2 last year. Is it just okay? That's where we're starting. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long season, so. I don't really think it matters where we start. I think it's just about going in and playing our games well and doing what we want to do. And I think the rankings will reflect however the work we're putting in.
You feel like you guys are ready for – I was looking at the strength of schedule before you guys walked in. I was just curious, and I was looking at where Warren Nolan has your strength of schedule, because last year's was 48th in the nation. Okay. And you guys enter this year at 26. So are you excited for a tougher non-conference schedule this year?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be good. I think, 2 years ago when we added Iowa to our non-con when I wasn't playing, I thought having those tough games really helped us once we got into conference play. So there'll probably be some growing pains, and that's okay. But, yeah, I'm excited. I think it's just opportunity for us to prove early, what we want to accomplish this season. So, yeah, it'll be fun.
You ever been to Las Vegas?
I have not. Yeah, one of my coaches is from there, so I'm excited to see, where she grew up.
You think that could be your kind of place?
It probably wouldn't be very wise of me to spend a lot of time there. Yeah, I'm sure I could buy a lot of things there and just, probably shouldn't.
I was thinking about this earlier today as well, because you've been around, this is your 7th year, and then the other seniors, the Glenn twins and Serena, how do the coaches still challenge you guys? I would imagine they still have to get pretty creative and work on ways to improve your game, because you guys are all pretty solid.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think film, for me has been the biggest one, just being able to see, okay. And I think there's things that I know, okay, I need to be doing this better, but actually seeing it and seeing how it impacts the offense or something when I don't set a screen or when I'm not going to the boards sooner. Yeah, the film just doesn't lie. So I think film is a big one. Rena's in a tough position being the point guard. So I think there's a lot of ways that Coach Mittie challenges her just because she has to run our offense. But yeah, I think he finds ways. I think it's just continuing to remain coachable.
A couple more for you. What was the most fun moment last year? Last year was so incredibly fun.
Yeah.
Being a K-State women's basketball fan, just speaking from my point of view, and watching you guys rise to number 2 and beating there are so many great moments. Is there one that I know that's put on the spot that was your favorite?
I think probably the win at Iowa, just because I wasn't a part of the one the prior year. And just winning in their house, it was just so fun, such a fun locker room, and just like a launching pad for us the rest of the season.
Let me ask you the same question, but in a different way, because maybe we'll get a different answer.
Okay.
Like if you're on YouTube or you're going looking on Twitter, was there a moment that you went back and watched maybe the most? Because my answer would be Walker's buzzer beater against Texas, because it just got so loud in there.
Yeah, that was definitely that game too. That's probably like number 2.
Okay.
That game was insane. And we had recruits in the spring, and they had that game on just on the TV where we were eating. So, there's just no words for just how crazy and really cool moment.
Well, last thing, and to embarrass you a little bit more, you're going to become K-State's all-time leading scorer this year, don't you?
Yeah. Yep.
Just let the fans and the teammates celebrate that.
Yeah.
When we get there.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to think of some way to celebrate that. But we'll for sure celebrate. It'll be fun. It's exciting.
All right, Yoki, I'll let you go.
Okay.
Always enjoy talking to you. Looking forward to this season starting, and best of luck this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Mitch.
Mitch Fortner sitting down with Ayoka Lee in Kansas City as the Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day took place today. We continue with more in a moment on The Game. Troy Coverdale again with you as The Game continues on News Radio KMAN. Mitch Fortner's in Kansas City. Big 12 Women's Basketball Media Day is taking place there today. The men will get their turn at it tomorrow. You've already heard from Ayoka Lee, the preseason pick as Player of the Year. One of the players that joined her on the first team this season for the preseason All-Big 12 squad was Audi Crooks of Iowa State, also a unanimous selection to that team.
Audi Crooks, welcome to Big 12 Media Days. I'm sure this is your first time, and what a rising star you are in women's college basketball. Just tell me about what last year was like for you as a freshman, playing Big 12 basketball, and getting noticed nationally.
Yeah. Last year, I kind of came into it with literally zero expectations. I don't think the coaches or any of my teammates knew if I was going to play. Like I said, it was just a new level, and I didn't know what to expect. But later on, got to started to play a significant amount of minutes, like you said, made an impact down here at the Big 12 tournament. So it was just a really fun year, very eye-opening, a lot of new things, learned a lot of new things, a lot of experience.
Being an Iowa kid, was Iowa State an easy choice for you?
It was not an easy choice. I was recruited by a lot of different schools, but growing up, I knew that they were a great program, so that definitely stood out a little bit in my brain when making my decision, just knowing that I grew up kind of surrounded by Iowa State, and that it's a great program, and I'm glad. I wouldn't want it any other way.
So at what age did you know that you had it? You had what it takes to be a post player and be a really good basketball player?
Sure. I think kind of when I stepped onto the AAU circuit, and that was actually pretty late. So that was maybe 7th grade or 8th grade, which for a lot of Division I athletes is a late join. But I think being from a small town, a small school, I think basketball came easy to me just because there weren't a lot of girls that were very tall or very strong. But putting myself out there on that, national circuit and playing against, girls who had offers in 7th grade, I didn't know anything about that. Like I said, I was new to AAU, but being able to compete with them and then, in some degree kind of like outshine them in a small way, like that just kind of meant that maybe I did have it. Maybe I was working with something special. So
I noticed early on last year you were playing about 20 minutes a game, and as a true freshman, that's a pretty big deal. Was it easy at first, or did it take a while to get into a groove and get comfortable with the game?
No, it definitely wasn't easy. I think it was just a huge adjustment in pretty much every aspect, especially like the physicality of the game. Like I said, coming from a small Iowa school, not a lot of size, not a lot of strength, not used to playing against 6'5", 6'6", and that's a very real reality here in the Big 12. So that was a really hard adjustment, and it was kind of gradual. It was a gradual thing, and I think over the season my minutes grew because I became more comfortable and adapted a little bit better to Big 12 basketball.
So who are those? Who are some of the tougher centers in the Big 12 that you had to face that maybe you learned something from playing against them?
Yeah. I would say Ayoka Lee for sure from Kansas State. Was somebody that was, really established. I think she's going into like her 5th year. So she's been around for a while, and I was a new kid on the block. So getting that experience was huge. And then Baylor. Edwards was a pretty good. I mean, she wasn't really a 5, but she was still pretty good in the paint because she'd been used to playing, post defense for 4 years as well. So I went up against a lot of experience last year versus my inexperience, and I think that was really valuable, especially for a post player. I mean, I think it's kind of like really, really hard for a center freshman to be able to step in and play just because the physicality is it's an even bigger piece when you're in the paint.
Yeah, and you're so much fun to watch, and it was around that K-State time. I believe you had an overtime game with K-State, and I think people started to notice. I think that was a nationally televised game,
yeah,
and
I think so.
Did your social media start to blow up after that game or around that time?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if it was as much like of the national social media, but definitely people in the Big 12 and in at least in the state of Iowa and in the Midwest started to pay attention, and for sure the schools from Kansas State and the schools in Kansas because I think coming into it, Ayoka Lee was kind of like the established center in the Big 12, you could say, and then to have a competitor, somebody brand new go up against her, and we got that win in Hilton Coliseum. I think that was really eye-opening for a lot of people.
We'll talk more about the Big 12 in just a second. But is there something about your game that you think is super underrated? Maybe it's not talked about enough.
For sure. My bag is actually, it's pretty deep. And people don't really get the chance to see that because a lot of times I'm going out there, I'm getting double teamed, I'm getting triple teamed. I don't have time to put the ball on the floor. I don't have time, to do all the step back, all the cool things that the guards get to do because there are so many people clogging that lane. So I think that, the Big 12 has a lot of new teams, but also players have added a lot of centers. So there's a lot more centers in this league than there was last year. So I'm excited to get a chance to go one-on-one and kind of display some of that mid-range game.
All right, we'll wrap up by let's talk about your team for a second.
Yeah.
Iowa State wasn't picked to win the Big 12, but it was really close. K-State got that nod. You're ranked a little higher than K-State in the AP poll coming into the year. So
correct, yeah.
Both these teams have targets on their backs. It should be a really good battle because you're both playing twice each year. But tell me about Iowa State basketball this year and why it's going to be so good.
Yeah, I just think the changes that we made in this offseason with the recruits that we brought in and the transfers, our perimeter shooting has just improved a ton, and that's going to make what I do in the middle a lot easier, and teams are going to really have to pick. Are they going to double team or are they going to guard on the perimeter? And it's a pick your poison situation because, we plan to capitalize on in every aspect of the game. So I'm really excited to see how that comes into play in Big 12.
All right, one more thing real quick. I've been asking the players this. Does pineapple go on pizza?
Oh, sure. I'd say sure. I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not a hater. I'm kind of indifferent. I think it's good sometimes, but every time, come on, grow up a little bit. It's fruit. It's not. It doesn't belong there, but it's a nice add. I don't know.
All right, Audi, you're so much fun to watch. I'm looking forward to this year. Congratulations on success so far, and best of luck this season.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
We've got more with Mitch from Kansas City as the Women's Basketball Media Day for the Big 12 continues. This is The Game. Our Women's Basketball Media Day special edition of The Game continues on News Radio KMAN. Mitch Fortner is on hand in Kansas City as the conference's women's basketball teams were there to meet with media members today. It gave Mitch the opportunity to sit down with another of the unanimous selections to the preseason All-Big 12 team, J.J. Quinerly of West Virginia.
Was really looking forward to talking to you. Because you've been around for a little while, and you're, I think, the second leading scorer in the Big 12 last year. I would love to know about your background and how you got into playing basketball and where that all started for you.
Well, my dad's of course a sports-oriented man. He was a football coach. He played football as well. Also played basketball at Moore High School with Joe Smith. So just from there, honestly, I started off playing soccer. At first, I fell in love with soccer initially, and then in second grade, I started playing rec league for I forgot the name of the team, but started playing with them. It was an all-boys team, and literally the first practice, I was killing the guys, and I was surprised. I didn't think I would be that good at basketball, but I just kept going with it, and then my dad told me I couldn't play soccer no more because he didn't want me to tear my ACL, and then So I played basketball and I played softball throughout middle school and into high school. And then once I got to high school, I focused more on basketball and then actually settling into myself and figuring out, all right, how can I play, what's my best part of my game is, and just figuring that I'm actually pretty good at this sport, so might as well keep playing it.
Yeah, you're a lot of fun to watch, especially not only are you a great scorer, you're a great defender. And I was talking to some players earlier, and they said that you're the toughest one to defend, and you're also a pain in the butt on when you're on defense. I think you led the Big 12 in steals last year. What came to you first? Were you a great defender first, or were you a great scorer?
I was a great defender first, always. Thanks my high school coach, Coach Chandra Sawyer, she was a big defensive coach. She always preached defense to us, and we pressed all game. We were man-to-man all game, and I remember one game we had to, play with our hands behind our back the whole second half. So just her, honestly, put that intensity in me, and I've carried it on throughout my career.
Has there been any differences with now Mark Kellogg being the head coach and is practice different? You guys have a different identity offensively, or what's been the changes?
I would say there's really no change. I think, of course, we got a lot of new players, of course, so it may look a little different, but his philosophies and everything is going to stay the same. He's going to keep honing in on our defense, but we've definitely been trying to get our offense a little better. I think we were 44 in the country last year in our offense, so definitely trying to get that better for sure.
And typically when there's a coaching change, which it was last year for West Virginia, that typically, especially this day and age, players leave. How did you decide to stay in Morgantown?
Well, of course, I stayed after my freshman year when Carrie left, and then I stayed again after Dawn Plissa-White left. So then once she left, I think it was just I'm more of a person that's not about the name of the school or what they have at the school. I really just wanted to make a name for myself and put that school on the map as best as I could, and I think throughout my career I've accomplished a lot, and I've put this team places nobody has ever expected us to do.
I see you're from Norfolk, Virginia. Mm-hmm. Were you a West Virginia fan growing up?
No, but my brother actually, because he played football, he took a visit to West Virginia. I remember I was probably 10 years old maybe. Took a visit to West Virginia, his first ever college visit, and I seen the school then, and then had a couple players that played for my high school coach, Sandra Sawyer, like Crystal Lurie and stuff. People like them, they played at West Virginia. So, I don't know, Coach Carey had came to practices and came to my house, so it just felt like a family for real.
J.J. Quinerly is our guest from West Virginia. Got a couple more for you. I'm going to put you on the spot here, but you've had a pretty fun career, and you enter your senior year. You averaged 20 points a game last year, which is incredible. But have you had what's your favorite moment so far as a Mountaineer, from a shot to a win? What's at the top of your list right now?
I think my favorite moment, despite the Baylor loss, that Baylor game at home last year when I fumbled the ball a little bit literally at the end of the game, and Jada Walker kind of got it and went for a layup. I contested it. I, of course, fouled her, so she couldn't make the layup, and she ended up somebody else shot the free throws. They ended up knocking the free throws down and winning the game. But I think just that game just showed my intensity in scoring the ball and how well I can score the ball with anybody guarding me.
Is there a place that comes to mind when I say, where's the toughest place to play in the Big 12? Anywhere come to mind?
I would say probably toughest crowd-wise would be Iowa State for sure. And then, of course, I just love that game against Baylor for sure because it's always a good game between us. Let's
wrap up by just telling me about, what West Virginia you think, what the Mountaineers will be this year, what you think you guys can do well. Because you're going to be a little bit different, of course, but, what's West Virginia going to be about this year?
I think people can expect us to, of course, keep that defensive intensity up. And I think offensively, our offense intensity is definitely going to be a change for us. It wasn't really as good as it should have been last year, but we've definitely been working on it. He's been putting in a lot of new stuff to help us out, too, as well, especially spacing the floor out and stuff like that. So that's going to be a good look for us offensively.
You guys are a good team. Being preseason ranked 5th, is that a chip on your shoulder at all? You did get a first-place vote, but, I mean, how do you feel about 5th place in the Big 12 preseason? That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. I mean, I probably expected that, 4 spot, but, it is what it is. We're going to take what we got and run with it, and we're going to see these teams soon. So, yeah.
All right, JJ, good stuff. A lot of fun to watch you.
Thank you.
Chat with you for the first time. Appreciate it. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Mitch Fortner setting down with West Virginia's J.J. Quinerly, one of the 3 unanimous selections to the women's basketball preseason All-Big 12 squad. Coming up in the next hour, we hear from K-State's Serena Sundell and Zy Walker. Mitch with a special conversation with a mascot, it may surprise you, and he sat down with Brandon Schneider, the head coach at Kansas, as well. That all on the way in the next hour as we continue this special edition of Big 12 Media Day coverage. It's the Women's Basketball Media Day in Kansas City on The Game.